She won't say it, she won't admit it, but the moment a woman wants you, she changes something in front of you, and it's not loud, it's not clear, it's not what you think. It's a shift so subtle most men miss it completely. But once you notice it, once you truly see it, you'll realize she's been giving you green lights your whole life. You just never knew how to read them. Until now. Welcome to a world most men never see. A world where her interest is not spoken. It's shown. In silence, in motion, in the space she creates around you. This video will decode the 7 silent shifts women make when their desire turns physical. These are primal, psychological, irrefutable. If you're the kind of man who wants to stop guessing and start knowing, watch every second. If you find value in this, support the channel. Help us reach the men who never learned this. Help us build a generation of calm, sharp, powerful men who don't chase, but lead. Let's begin. Number 1. Private isolation invitations. If she creates space away from others, it's not coincidence. It's coded consent. Every man has experienced it, but almost none recognize it. You're with her in a group setting. Things are casual, then suddenly she moves closer, or she pulls you away slightly. She asks you to help her with something. She walks with you to grab a drink. It seems innocent, but in that moment, she's created isolation, and she's done it without asking. Why? Because biologically, a woman who wants intimacy does not escalate directly. She does it environmentally. She alters her surroundings to match her inner shift. And when she wants you, she wants to feel what it's like to be alone with you, even if just for a moment. That moment is a test, not of your moves, but of your presence. If you notice this shift, where she removes you from the crowd, even slightly, you've just received her first real signal. She's saying, I want to feel you without the world watching. This is not about privacy, it's about polarity. When she creates space for the masculine to enter, she's stepping into her feminine without saying it. What do you do in this moment? You do less. You slow your voice, lower your tone, soften your eye contact, and you hold frame. Because now she's watching how you move without the crowd. If your energy stays calm, grounded, unneedy, her attraction will escalate rapidly. Most men talk more in this moment. They try to fill the space, but she didn't create the space for words. She created it to feel. She's tuning into the frequency of your attention, your stillness, your breath. This moment is where the decision begins. And if you pass it, not with game, but with gravity, her nervous system starts to relax. She begins to open, not outwardly, inwardly. She imagines what it would be like to be closer. She imagines what it would be like to surrender. Not because you touched her, but because you didn't have to. Number 2. Tactile proxy stimulation. Why she fidgets with objects, not you, and how to close the gap. This one flies under nearly every man's radar, yet it's one of the clearest biological signals a woman gives when she's entering a state of subconscious arousal or building anticipation. She begins to touch things, not you, not yet. But her body needs to feel something, and it reaches for objects instead. Maybe it's her necklace, her phone, the edge of her sleeve, a glass, a ring. It seems random, but it's not. It's displacement. Her body wants to be in physical flow. Her nervous system is reacting to your presence. She's beginning to experience internal energy spikes. And because she's not ready to make it physical with you yet, her body subconsciously chooses a safer outlet. Objects. This is called tactile proxy stimulation, the act of soothing or amplifying nervous arousal through interaction with neutral surfaces. The truth is, when a woman starts fidgeting, playing with textures, or running her fingers over smooth or soft objects in front of you. Something is happening beneath the surface. She's getting pulled into her body, not her thoughts. And that shift from cognition to sensation is everything. Here's what makes the difference. Most men ignore it, or worse, interrupt it by asking, "Are you okay?" or making a joke to break the tension. But that tension? That's exactly what you want to hold. It's a moment of nervous magnetism, and your job isn't to do something. It's to read the room with awareness and stay grounded. But you're not just an observer. Here's how to close the gap with precision. Step 1. Mirror her fidgeting rhythm. Slowly, subtly. If she plays with a ring, you casually adjust your watch. Not immediately, but after a few seconds. You're syncing frequencies, not copying. Step 2. Introduce intentional tactile grounding. For example, as she speaks, you slowly press your fingers together or lightly drag your thumb over your own knuckles. This shows bodily awareness. It's primal, silent, masculine, and she feels it. Step 3. When the moment feels settled, move your own object, cup, keychain, coaster, closer to her side. If she touches it, you now have proximal physicality, an unconscious test of her comfort with sharing space. When she interacts with an object near you, she's already visualizing what it's like to interact with you. Touch is not the beginning. It's the result of 1,000 micro-permissions her body grants first. And this is one of them. If she's reaching for texture, rhythm, or motion, she's not nervous. She's preparing. Don't rush it. Don't name it. Just notice it and answer it with presence. Because once a woman starts touching the world around you, she's imagining what it would feel like to be touched by you. Number 3. Micro-aesthetic adjustments. Why she adjusts posture, sleeves, or necklines, and what to do when you see it. Her body speaks in quiet codes. One of the loudest is also one of the most overlooked. How she physically adjusts herself when she's near you. And not just randomly, right in front of you. This is not vanity. This is not accident. This is biological preparation for being seen. And it's one of the most ancient, subconscious signals of sexual readiness. When a woman feels a shift in attraction, her nervous system sends a signal. The body responds first. She may straighten her back, tilt her head, expose the side of her neck. She may gently pull her sleeve down to reveal her wrist. She may lift her chest slightly, adjust her hair, smooth her pants. She's not doing this to get attention. She's adjusting her aesthetic alignment with you. What she's really doing is saying this: if you looked now, I want you to see me in my best light. This isn't performance, it's instinct. Just like a man might expand his shoulders or lower his voice in the presence of a woman he's drawn to, a woman shifts her image when her desire is rising, but hasn't yet crossed into action. These micro-adjustments are like pre-linguistic whispers of arousal. They say, "I'm preparing myself," without ever breaking the surface of normal conversation. And now that you know it, you can't unsee it. So what do? You acknowledge it silently, not with words, not with reactions, but with timed eye contact. Let her adjust. Wait 2 seconds, then scan her posture, slowly, eyes to chin, then chin to eyes. No smirk, just presence. What happens next is electric. She feels seen, but not judged. She feels exposed, but safe. You've created a loop where her preparation is noticed and returned with masculine containment. And if she keeps adjusting, that's your confirmation. It means you're inside her awareness loop. She's managing how she's perceived by you. And once that begins, desire isn't just near, it's building. But here's the twist. The wrong move ruins everything. Most men break the moment by commenting, complimenting or shifting topics. But her adjustment wasn't for words. It was a primal offer of energy alignment. Let it breathe. Here's your script. Stay centered. Let her move. Then gently mirror her micro-adjustment. If she lifts her hair, slowly roll your neck. If she adjusts posture, reset yours. If she softens tone, reduce volume. This silent duet tells her you're tuned in, not just watching, but reading. And once she feels read, without pressure, without chase, she will begin to pre-approve the idea of physical closeness, not because of what you said, but because of how you matched her moment without breaking the energy. From there, all movement becomes easier. She starts playing with her space. She leans in. She repositions her legs. She's not adjusting for you anymore. She's inviting you into her rhythm. That's the power of aesthetic adjustments. They mark the moment before permission. Catch them, honor them, mirror them. Because once she begins preparing her body in your presence, she's already made up her mind. And her body got the message first. Number 4, sexual displacement through words. When she brings up sex indirectly, decode, don't explain. You're mid-conversation. It's light, casual, flowing. Then suddenly, without prompt, she says something that brushes the edge of sexual territory. Maybe it's a joke, a story about a friend's wild relationship, a comment about a TV character's sex life, or even a throwaway line like, "Some guys just don't know how to take control." It seems random, but it isn't. That was not a slip. That was a test. A woman rarely initiates direct sexual conversation with a man she hasn't yet categorized as safe to explore. So when she starts introducing sexual displacement, references to intimacy that aren't about you but set around you, she's probing your frame. She's checking. Can he handle this? Will he flinch? Will he overreact? Will he try to impress me? Or will he hold his masculine ground? Sexual displacement is her way of exploring the possibility of desire without putting herself on the line. It's a proxy confession. She wants to feel your energy respond without naming it directly. And that moment, how you respond, either elevates her attraction or shuts the door. Here's what to do. Respond with neutral ownership. You don't blush. You don't change the subject. You don't dive into it with "me too" stories or jokes. You simply acknowledge her tone, not her topic. Let's say she says, "Most guys don't know how to touch a woman properly." The average guy says, "Oh, I definitely do," or "Really? What do you mean?" You don't. You look at her and calmly say, "A man should never need instructions." Then change the subject or say nothing. That silence, that calm authority, that refusal to chase the thread, that's the signal she's searching for. Because now she sees that you're not shocked, you're not flustered, you already live in that space. And she wants to come closer to feel it. This is the paradox. When you don't chase the sexual thread, you become the thread. Women drop these lines on purpose, not as tricks, but as subconscious barometers. She's watching your emotional rhythm. She's scanning your body language. And if you stay composed, if your tone doesn't spike, if your breath stays even, you pass the test. Now here's the deeper layer. After she drops the sexual reference, she'll often pull back, change topic, laugh it off. That's not rejection. That's calibration. She's seeing if you'll follow or fall. Your role. Observe the retreat. And don't pursue. Let the conversation shift. Then, a few moments later, re-enter your masculine energy. Slowly, with something like, "You have a way of bringing up things most people won't say." No follow-up, just the line. Then quiet. That line acknowledges her boldness. It rewards her play. It centers her in your awareness, and it makes her feel emotionally exposed, without judgment. From there, her mind loops. She replays the moment. She reimagines your stillness. And now, she doesn't just want to talk about sex. She starts feeling it. The kind of desire that's unspoken. The kind that lingers. The kind that makes her want to go quiet and stay near you. Because now she knows. You saw her signal, and you didn't flinch. Number 5. Submissive resistance equals stronger desire. Why arguments, mockery, and challenges signal rising arousal. This is one of the most misunderstood signals in male-female dynamics. A woman teases you. She mocks your confidence. She disagrees just a little too strongly. It might feel like she's pushing you away, challenging your authority, or testing your value. And in a way, she is. But not for the reasons you think. When a woman starts resisting you playfully, it often means her interest has already crossed into arousal. Her body is on alert. Her emotions are charged. But instead of surrendering right away, her nervous system does something primal. It tests the strength of the container. This isn't conscious. She's not trying to be difficult. But her biology is asking, can this man handle my emotional energy and stay centered? Submissive resistance is a paradox. She's acting out not because she's repelled, but because she's drawn in. She's creating friction to see if you lose control. And if you pass that test, the attraction intensifies dramatically. Think of it like this. A river doesn't test the rocks it flows around, but a storm does. If you're the storm, she becomes water. If you're soft, she becomes stone. So when she mocks your opinion, exaggerates a disagreement, or calls you so full of yourself, don't interpret it as rejection. Interpret it as the gateway to deeper polarity. Because now she's emotionally engaged. Now her body is feeling something it can't name. And if you respond with grounded calm, not defensiveness, not counterattacks, you rise in her frame. What do you do when she challenges? Step 1. Reduce reaction. Do not take the bait. Her statement is a gift, not a problem. Step 2. Lean in energetically, not physically, not verbally. Hold her eye contact slightly longer. Let your smile appear late. Show her that her emotional spike didn't move you. It intrigued you. Step 3. Introduce playful reframing. Say something like, "You fight hard for someone who's not invested." Or, "You're cute when you pretend not to care." Not to insult her, but to name the polarity. You're inviting her into her softness without forcing her. And watch what happens. She pauses. Her eyes shift. Her tone softens. Because now she knows, you're not a man who gets pulled off center. You don't match chaos with chaos. You create safety through power. And that is what allows her to let go. Submissive resistance is the prelude to surrender. It's a storm she sends to test if your mountain stands firm. And if it does, she'll start imagining what it would feel like to let go completely. Not because you beat her, but because you never needed to fight in the first place. That's when the fantasy begins. That's when desire deepens. That's when the storm turns to stillness and her body prepares for intimacy. Because now she knows, you're not here to win. You're here to contain. Number 6, breath patterns and eye fixation cues. The eyes and the breath. 2 gateways to the subconscious, and the most honest indicators of female desire. You can fake words. You can fake a smile. But you cannot fake the rhythm of breath. And you cannot fake what the eyes seek when the body wants to follow. Watch her breathe. A woman's breath will betray her before anything else does. It's not dramatic. It's not a gasp or a sigh. It's often subtle, a slight shift in rhythm. Maybe it deepens when you lean in. Maybe it shortens when your voice slows. Maybe she swallows after a pause, adjusts her chest, or her lips part just slightly as she exhales. This is not coincidence. This is her body lowering its defenses. Her nervous system is attuning to you, and that change in breathing isn't for oxygen. It's a response to energetic proximity, to your tone, your posture, your pace. Her body is syncing, and that sync tells you everything. The breath is the body's honesty. When she's still talking normally but her breath has dropped or staggered, she's no longer in analysis. She's in felt experience. Her mind might still say, "Play it cool," but her body is already feeling you. Now the eyes. Her eye fixation becomes erratic when she's on the edge of intimacy. You'll notice patterns like this. She stares directly into your eyes, then looks away quickly. She holds your gaze longer than usual, but doesn't smile. Her pupils dilate in low light, even if the room hasn't changed. She looks at your mouth while you speak. She scans your face like she's memorizing it. She drops eye contact, but her body doesn't move. These are not shy signals. These are processing signals. Her body is doing the math. Her brain is searching for safety, power, intrigue. And the moment her eyes show fixation without fear, you've entered her emotional nervous system. You are now not just a man in the room. You are a man in her mental space. What should you do when you notice her breath shift or her eyes fix? You do not escalate. You do not lean in too fast. You slow even more. Why? Because she's now in your orbit. And what she craves isn't speed. It's security, intention. Maintain eye contact slightly longer. Let your breath stay steady, even if hers isn't. Speak slower. Pause between sentences. And if you feel bold, pause mid-sentence. Then return to her eyes in silence. This shows her you know. You saw the shift. You felt her breath catch. You watched her eyes freeze. And you stayed still. That stillness tells her you're safe, not because you retreat, but because you don't need to jump. And that restraint builds a charge deeper than any compliment or touch ever could. Breath and gaze are emotional currency. And when you stay grounded while her breath stumbles and her eyes search, you become the gravity she's trying to understand. And the more she feels pulled without being pressured, the more she wants to surrender without words. Number 7. Slower movements signal biological surrender. How feminine pacing reveals nervous system readiness for intimacy. Movement reveals intention, more than words ever can. And when a woman begins to slow down around you, when her gestures soften, when her tempo drops, she isn't tired. She's not bored. She's surrendering, not mentally, biologically. Slower movements are not casual. They're primal. They're a physical recalibration to your presence. When a woman feels emotionally safe and sexually stimulated, her nervous system enters a different gear. She's no longer in defense mode. She's no longer scanning. She's now in receptivity. And receptivity shows itself in pace. This shift is subtle. At first, she might lean instead of step. She moves her hands more gently. Her laughter is drawn out, not sharp. Her voice lowers, not just in pitch, but in urgency. Her entire tempo has changed. You'll notice she begins to pause before speaking. She lets silence exist between words. She lingers at the end of sentences. Her body follows curves instead of corners. This is the moment her body begins to mirror trust. And trust is what unlocks desire. Because in the female nervous system, speed equals safety testing. But slowness? Slowness signals acceptance. It means her guard is falling. Her breath is slower, her movements are smoother, her reactions are delayed. Not because she's unsure, but because she's starting to feel free. This is when women often seem different. They're less animated, but more intense. They seem quiet, but more present. Their eyes hold longer. Their posture opens. They're speaking to you with their energy, not their words. Now here's what most men miss. They match this by escalating. They take her softness as an invitation to intensify. Wrong. Your move is to match the pace, but stay the mountain. You don't slow down to seduce. You slow down to mirror depth. And by staying in sync, calm, masculine, unshaken, you allow her nervous system to settle even more. Because her subconscious is asking, is this slowness safe, or is it a trap? You prove it's safe by not chasing. You let the moment stretch. You let silence build. You let your eyes land and stay. You do not need to touch. She's already feeling you from across the table, across the room, across the couch. Now here's where it gets powerful. When a woman slows down in front of you and you meet her stillness with awareness, she begins to anticipate the moment of contact. Not because you rush it, but because you didn't need it to validate the connection. And at that point, she doesn't want you to speak. She doesn't want a joke. She wants to feel held without hands, to be seen without being scanned, to be felt without being touched. That is where intimacy begins. Not in the act, but in the energy leading to it, in the patience, the presence, the pause. Because when a woman slows her world down around you, it's not about mood, it's about magnetism. Her entire biology is saying, this is where I feel safe, this is where I feel taken, this is where I want to surrender. And if you honor that pace, if you match it with strength, not speed, she won't need to make a decision. Her body already did. Now you know something most men never even sense. The moment she decides to sleep with you isn't verbal. It isn't logical. It doesn't happen in her mind. It happens in her body, and you are the trigger. Not by what you say, but by what you don't need to say. Not by what you do, but by how deeply you see. Let's recap the blueprint of female decision-making. Her silent sequence of desire, private isolation invitations. She removes the world so she can feel you alone. Tactile proxy, stimulation. She touches objects when she's imagining touch. Micro-aesthetic adjustments. She prepares her image when she prepares for closeness. Sexual displacement through words. She brings up sex through stories, not confessions. Submissive resistance. She fights you to feel if you'll stay calm. Breath and eyes. Her lungs and pupils shift before her voice does. Slower movements. Her pace softens when her defenses drop. Each of these is a door. And if you walk through too fast, it closes. If you knock too loudly, it locks. But if you stand steady, grounded, silent, she opens it, without even knowing why. Because at her core, she doesn't want a man who pushes. She wants a man who pulls, without touching. Who makes her feel the fantasy before it ever becomes reality. And that fantasy is what lives long after the date, long after the night. It's what makes her want to text first. It's what makes her think of you when she shouldn't. It's what makes her trust her own body when it says, him. You are now that man. You've seen behind the veil. You've learned her unspoken language. And with that comes responsibility. Because this knowledge isn't for pickup. It's for power, inner power, quiet power, stoic, masculine, untouchable. And now, it's yours. So if you've made it this far, if you felt what this video unlocked in you, comment "unstoppable" below. Let me see who watched this to the final word. Let me see the men who are done guessing, done chasing, done misreading, and are now stepping into presence. Like the video if it shifted your understanding. Subscribe if you're becoming the man who doesn't need attention to attract it. Share this with one man you care about who needs to hear this truth. This isn't a channel, it's a movement, a classroom for men who aren't loud, but are dangerous in silence. And remember this, she's already decided. Her body told her before she even knew. Your only job was to listen without words.